I see every day more and more people trying their hand at finding love further away than ever before. Work from home, social media, dating apps, and technology in general have given people a false sense of possibilities when it comes to finding the one. I had my first long-distance relationship at the age of 14, then 15, 18, 20, and so on. You could say that I've had my share of long-distance relationships to make me an expert on the topic in more ways than one, especially if you consider the fact that even my wife started as a long-distance relationship of sorts. And despite that, long-distance relationships is something that I would never ever get into again, and you shouldn't either. You don't have to go far to find an answer to this question. Generally, there are two kinds of people. Those that will straight up say that long-distance relationships can't work because of human nature, our need for direct interaction, intimacy, touch, and the need for proximity to our loved ones or objects of our attraction. Then there are gurus out there who claim that long-distance relationships can work. They'll give you a laundry list of tips and tricks for scheduled video calls to sending care packages across miles, which I always found a bit weird. They'll tell you it's all about communication, trust, and commitment. But let's face it, life is messy, and love is even messier and much more complicated. Sure, there are some rare success stories of couples who defy the odds and make it work. But they're like unicorns, these couples with their unwavering devotion and their superhuman ability to withstand the agony of separation. But for every success story, there are countless tales of heartache, missed connections, and shattered dreams. Let's be real for a moment. Long-distance relationships are tough. It's like trying to build a sandcastle in the middle of a hurricane. No matter how hard you try, the forces of nature are working against you all the time. No amount of late-night phone calls or heartfelt text messages can replace the feeling of being held in someone's arms or the joy of experiencing life together. You see, people are different, and the psychology of human nature plays a significant role in relationships. We all have unique needs and desires, and being physically present for our partner is essential. We crave the closeness, that tangible connection that just can't be replicated through a screen. Sure, technology has made the world a smaller place. We have video chat, social media, and all sorts of virtual tools to bridge the gap. But let's not forget that behind all the pixels and emojis, there's a longing for something more substantial. We want to be with our loved ones in the flesh, to share the same physical space, and to experience life side by side. If you find yourself considering a long-distance relationship, take a step back and ask yourself some honest questions. Are you both willing to make the sacrifices necessary to keep the flame alive? Can you handle the loneliness and the uncertainty? Are you prepared for countless nights spent longing for each other's touch? When we meet somebody, especially if they are from out of town, another side of the country or different country altogether, they're only around for a short time, there's a tendency to make that time together seem way more amazing and romantic than it actually is. It's important to remember that a short-lived weekend fling is different from a long-lasting romantic relationship. Sure, it's more exciting when somebody is leaving you and you can't have them anymore. We humans have this natural tendency to fantasize and create drama when someone becomes unavailable, but it's essential to keep things in perspective and not exaggerate the situation just because the person is far away. Another problem is that often enough there is no action and a lot of talk. Sure, if you're a guy and your partner is a girl, I'd go as far as to say that it is in your hands because the girl, well, for them, it's often far easier to remain faithful and dreamy, to remain in that state of attraction because women work differently than men. The sheer drama of it all, the fantasy and the romantic nature of long-distance relationship with calls and videos and promises and words of love and attraction can feed and satiate a woman long enough to survive a long-distance relationship. For a guy, this is a lot harder, which is why when it comes to action, it is usually up to the guy to not only take action and make effort to connect, but it should also be in his interest to do so. Men's needs are different than women's, so a guy essentially should have the personally vested interest in taking logical steps to maintain that attraction and sexual tension and interest in that person, and vice versa. That being said, if you're a woman and you want to maintain his interest in a long-distance scenario, there are a few things that you need to do. First, be genuinely interested in his life and what he's up to. Show him that you care about his experiences and ask him personal questions. It's important that you create real connection, not just, something that is based on some physical attraction, especially over distance. Keep also in mind that thanks to scheduling calls, scheduling time for connection, this becomes a routine and therefore the conversations become samey. Now, on the other hand, be careful not to become just friends and lose the desire between you. Incorporate moments of playfulness, flirting, cheekiness, and even some level of sexuality in your interactions. It could be as simple as telling him how attractive he looks or expressing your longing for him and how horny you are. Now let's talk about why we often find ourselves attracted to unavailable people. It's a complex topic, but one reason could be a feeling of scarcity. We sometimes convince ourselves that there's a limited supply of great connections. So when we find one, even if it's with the wrong person, we hold on to it. But the truth is, you can find that connection again with somebody who's actually available and ready to move forward. Instead of diving headfirst into a long-distance relationship, perhaps it's worth exploring other options. Maybe you can focus on personal growth, building a strong foundation, and finding somebody who's actually physically present. After all, there are plenty of fish in the sea, and limiting yourself to a long-distance relationship might prevent you from finding somebody who can truly be there for you, day in and day out. Life is too short and love is too precious to spend it in a constant state of longing. So my advice to you is this: explore the possibilities that are within reach. Cherish the physical closeness and save yourself from the heartache that often accompanies long-distance relationships. Your heart deserves to be loved in person, not through a Wi-Fi connection. But if you chose to ignore all of my advice, if you chose to ignore my personal experiences, and there have been plenty, and you think that you can be one of those unicorns who will actually make it work, who will make it happen because your love can transcend space and time and you can withstand any trouble, but you feel like you need extra advice, maybe check out this list. We have made actually a list of shorts that deals with long distance relationships, which include some tricks and tips that could help you in your pursuit. Otherwise, I guess I'll see you in the next one. Bye.